The story starts in a future where humanity is already dead. The sky burns red, monsters own the earth, and the second Lu Xing opens his eyes there, a zombie is already trying to rip his throat out. But back in the present, nobody knows any of that. They just see a loser sleeping in class again, a weakling everyone laughs at, a failure wasting his poor family's money. While other people sleep and dream peacefully, Lu Xing gets dragged 10,000 years into the future every single night and fights for his life in a world that wants him dead. And the worst part is, even after all that suffering, people still look down on him like he's nothing. His parents spend their last savings on medicine for him. He trains until his body gives out, and still nobody believes he can become anything. Then one night, everything changes. A zombie attacks, Lu Xing kills it with his bare hands, and suddenly its memories, power, and battle instincts pour straight into his body. Another monster jumps him from behind, and this time he destroys it instantly. That's when Lu Xing realizes this nightmare isn't just torture, it's the greatest martial arts cheat in existence. A shortcut that can turn the same boy everyone mocks today into someone no one will dare challenge tomorrow. And when he finally wakes up back home, soaked in sweat after surviving another night in hell, his younger sister bangs on his door ready to scold the same useless brother she always pitied, only to freeze the second he opens it, because for the first time, the weak Lu Xing she looked down on is starting to feel terrifying. Lu Xing can only manage a tired laugh as she continues her daily lecture. Wet fabric clings to Lu Xing's defined chest. He steps into the hallway light, his thin shirt soaked through from the sheer intensity of the dream battle. Lu Qinghe tells him to hurry up for dinner because their parents are losing patience. As she turns to walk away, she steals a quick glance back and notices his shocking physical growth. She wonders when her lazy brother actually got this muscular and feels a sudden flush of heat. Lu Xing watches her leave and sighs, remembering how she used to be glued to his side when they were just kids. He realizes the gap between them is growing in more ways than one. Lu Xing recalls his sister's elite status. She's a certified genius with a combat ability over 100, leaving him in the dust. He pulls his shirt off and stares at his reflection, feeling like a tacky trope of a worthless brother. It's a harsh reality to swallow while his sister is praised by everyone. But as he looks closer, he notices something is definitely different about his frame. He flexes and sees his shredded arms. Usually, he wakes up feeling like a total zombie, but now he's vibrating with raw energy. This isn't just a mental shift. He can actually remember every combat technique he stole from the monsters. He looks down at his hands in shock, realizing his dream world progress is permanent. He's inheriting the skills of the undead and getting stronger by the second. It's an unbelievable cheat code that changes everything. Lu Xing joins his family for breakfast. He's wolfing down rice and dishes like his life depends on it. His body is screaming for fuel to support his new muscle mass and power. He slams his empty bowl down and barks out a request for another one. This level of hunger is completely new to him and his family. He's transforming from a lazy sleeper into a literal engine of destruction. He tries to retract his empty bowl. He laughs it off, claiming he's suddenly full, but his dad just smiles at the massive appetite. His father tells his mom to go whip up another pot of rice and more dishes immediately. They won't let him go hungry after seeing him finally show some spirit. The house is filled with a new energy as Lu Xing prepares for his next move. Dad punches Lu Xing on the shoulder. Lu Xing's father laughs while promising to buy expensive tonics for his son's sudden appetite. He thinks it's just puberty, but the investment shows how much he finally believes in the boy. Across the table, his sister eats quietly while remembering Lu Xing's dismal 0.8 health rating. She is the voice of reason who knows you can't just fake raw power. The family dynamic is shifting, but the skepticism in the room remains thick. Lu Xing looks at his hand. Lu Xing ignores the doubt and considers if the dream world actually changed his physical state. The theory sounds crazy, but the strength in his grip feels undeniable. He decides he needs a professional test to confirm his new level. It's time to stop guessing and get some hard data on his progress. He knows he can't rely on feelings alone if he wants to survive the next nightmare. Lu Xing stands before the dojo. Lu Xing arrives at the Hongchuan Dojo, a massive facility specializing in elite boxing techniques. The scale of the place is a reminder of how high the martial ladder really goes. Inside, posters detail the legendary master Ni Hongchuan and his rank 4 status. Seeing the stats of rank 2 and 3 artists makes Lu Xing realize the world is full of literal monsters. He is entering a world where raw numbers determine your entire worth. He views the expensive tuition prices. Lu Xing notes that a health status of 200 is equivalent to 300 of his former selves. The gap between a civilian and a martial artist is an absolute ocean. Lu Xing looks at the $40,000 tuition fee and realizes only the wealthy can afford this cram school. Most people are priced out of greatness before they even start. Lu Xing confidently pushes through the doors, knowing his dream world experience is a free ticket to the top. As he walks in, a purple-haired girl watches him, sensing a power that shouldn't be there. A receptionist smiles behind a counter. Lu Xing walks into the Hongchuan dojo and tells her he is just there for a basic health and power assessment. The woman looks him over, surprised to see a student showing up without any high-priced personal instructors to guide him. She gestures toward the specialized testing booths with a professional smile since he already knows the drill. Lu Xing doesn't need anyone to hold his hand through this process anymore. He has a personal mission to see exactly how much his body has evolved after his training. Lu Xing stands before a glowing scanner. He decides to check his physical health first to see if those nightmare sessions actually changed his biology on a fundamental level. A bright green beam sweeps across his entire frame to measure his internal vitality and muscle density. The holographic screen flashes a reading of 0.963, officially placing him at the apprentice rank. This isn't just a small improvement for a student, it is a total biological overhaul. He can feel the raw power vibrating through his bones with every single breath he takes now. Lu Xing pumps his fist in triumph. He is ecstatic because this progress means he is actually catching up to his genius sister for the first time. He approaches the heavy-duty test dummy to see what his combat power looks like on paper. Lu Xing settles into a low stance, centering his gravity as he stares down the mechanical target. His right hand glows with a fierce blue aura as he channels his newfound energy into his palm. This isn't just a simple slap. It is a refined technique from 1,000 years of war. He is ready to unleash everything he learned in the dream world on this machine. Lu Xing thrusts his palm forward. He channels every ounce of his training into a single, devastating strike against the heavy machine. The air around his hand ripples with blue energy before the contact even happens. When his palm hits, a massive blue flash erupts from the sensor, signaling a massive impact. This isn't just a basic punch, it's the culmination of life-or-death combat. Lu Xing stands firm as the machine absorbs the shock, his stance perfectly balanced. He's no longer the weak kid everyone ignores. A digital number flashes on screen. The display registers a staggering 113, causing Lu Xing to gasp in genuine disbelief. This score is a massive jump, far exceeding the natural limits for his current health status. He stares at the glowing numbers, his heart racing faster than it did during the strike. A look of pure ambition washes over his face as he realizes the magnitude of his discovery. If just a short time in the dream world did this, he wonders what 10 hours of sleep would accomplish. In a single night, he could be completely reborn as a god-tier martial artist. Lu Xing stares at his bedroom ceiling. He pulls the covers up to his chin, frustrated that his body won't actually let him drift off. He's desperate to return to the dream world, but his mind is too wired from the surge of power. He kicks the blankets aside, wondering if he accidentally had his fill of rest while napping in class. It's a strange problem for a former internet-addicted teen to have. Since he can't sleep, he decides to make the most of the time by working out in his room. He begins his radio gymnastics routine, inhaling deeply to stabilize his newly increased health stats. Lu Xing's body blurs with blue energy. As he performs his standard school exercises, his limbs snap into a deadly, precise combat stance he never learned. He halts mid-motion, staring at his trembling hands in utter disbelief. He's been doing these same radio gymnastics since he was a little kid, so there's no way he could just make a mistake like this. The realization settles in as he looks at his clenched fist. That strike was the exact same movement he saw the zombie perform right before he killed it. Flickering memories of a warrior training appear. These are the secrets of body training techniques that the zombie had mastered back when it was a living human. While the rest of the city sleeps in their quiet apartments, Lu Xing is pushing himself to the absolute brink. His arm muscles ripple and veins pop as he launches a series of powerful punches into the air. He forces himself to repeat these grueling movements over 200 more times. It's an exhausting marathon, but he can feel his physical shell being reforged with every single strike. Blue electrical sparks dance over his skin. Lu Xing can feel a massive tide of power surging through his veins with every breath he takes. It's not just the physical moves either. He's unconsciously mastering a high-level breathing technique that maximizes his body's potential. He realizes that the apocalyptic dream world isn't just a nightmare, it's a literal goldmine of lost martial arts knowledge. But then, a massive rumble echoes from his gut. He suddenly looks like a shriveled corpse, collapsing onto the floor in total agony. The massive energy consumption has left him absolutely starving, and he needs food immediately to survive. Lu Xing looks like a hollow shell. His body is burning fuel way faster than he can eat just to maintain this sudden surge of power. Evolution comes at a heavy, literal price, and his stomach is screaming for more. Fluorescent pills float in his mind as he realizes regular meals won't cut it anymore. He needs high-grade martial supplements. Unfortunately, his family's bank account is as empty as his gut right now. A gold-trimmed scholarship certificate appears in his thoughts, sparking a new plan. He sets his sights on school rewards reserved for the top-tier performers. It's time to stop hiding in the shadows and start earning his keep. Lu Xing narrows his blue eyes with a sharp, predatory fire. He knows he has to display his hidden talents to the instructors to get that funding. The quiet kid is officially done playing the weakling. The massive sports gym looms ahead. Lu Xing arrives for his practical combat lesson, fully prepared to make his move. This is where the rest of the world finally gets its first big wake-up call. Inside, students shuffle around the locker room, gearing up for the day's intense sparring. The atmosphere is thick with pre-fight nerves and the usual high school chatter. Then, Lu Xing pulls off his shirt, revealing a shredded, 8-pack physique. He's gone from a skinny nobody to looking like he was carved from solid granite in a single night. His best friend Lu Qiming pokes at his rock-hard abs in total disbelief. The chubby guy is completely stunned by the transformation of his formerly lazy buddy. Lu Xing just brushes him off, noticing his hair is even growing longer from the sheer surge in his vitality. Lu Qiming leans back and jokes that he's only working this hard to impress girls. Lu Xing just smiles, knowing the upcoming exams are his only ticket to financial freedom. He walks out of the locker room toward the arena light with a singular, deadly focus. The hunter is ready to collect his prize. Students gather in a wide circle. Instructor Zhong Zhenghua stands in the center to begin the afternoon's practical combat lesson. He stands with his arms crossed, looking down at the class with a seasoned, athletic gaze. The students sit in silence, knowing this man isn't just a teacher but a veteran of the front lines. Zhong lifts his sleeve to reveal a massive, jagged scar running down his forearm. He explains that these marks were earned during life-or-death struggles against real beasts on the battlefield. It's a grim reminder that the world outside school walls is incredibly dangerous. The instructor throws a fast punch. He shifts his weight and demonstrates the mechanics of a perfect strike for the class. His fist connects with the empty space, letting out a sharp shout that echoes through the entire hall. The power behind the move is enough to make the front row flinch. Zhong settles back into a neutral stance and announces that the demonstration is officially over. He wants the students to stop watching and start moving for the sparring session. The kids respond with a coordinated shout of understanding, feeling the pressure to perform like their teacher. A blonde student walks through admirers. Yang Yipei moves with total confidence as the girls in class whisper about how strong he is. He's the golden boy who always hogs the spotlight because of his family's deep pockets. Yang casually adjusts his gear, looking smug while students talk about the expensive energy pills he uses to boost his stats. Most of the class feels like it's impossible to compete with someone who has every financial advantage. Lu Xing watches the spectacle from the back of the group with a calm, analytical expression. He might have been a commoner yesterday, but today, his secret power makes him the most dangerous person in the room. Lu Xing stares forward with a cold, blue-eyed gaze. He makes a silent vow to seize every opportunity and power up with his own two hands. The intensity in his look shows he's finished being a background character. This internal shift marks the beginning of his true rise in this world. The instructor finishes critiquing Yang Yipei's form in front of the whole class. He tells the golden boy his balance needs work but confirms he has a massive future in martial arts. Yang Yipei bows slightly, but his smirk tells a different story. He views the rest of the class as total cannon fodder compared to his own natural genius. Students in the crowd huddle together, whispering about how impossible it is to face the top student. They know getting into the ring with a monster like Yang Yipei just leads to a quick, painful beating. The instructor watches them shrivel away like a group of terrified ostriches. He wonders how he's supposed to teach a class that lacks any real fighting spirit. The instructor's eyes sharpen as he looks over the sea of orange tracksuits. He knows the military only accepts the absolute best, while everyone else just fails out. Suddenly, his golden eyes lock onto a presence that feels completely different from the cowards. He feels a heavy, overwhelming aura radiating from a student sitting quietly in the back of the gym. The instructor points a firm finger directly at Lu Xing, calling him out. He commands the boy to step up and take his stance for a live sparring match. Lu Qiming tries to hold him back, terrified that his friend is about to get destroyed for the sake of pride. Lu Xing just gives a calm smile and tells him it's going to be fine. He walks toward the ring, ready to turn the school's hierarchy upside down. Lu Xing stands across from Yang Yipei. Lu Xing reminds the instructor that he has been training hard in private. He is finally ready to show the results of his nightmare sessions. The teacher sets a strict 10-minute limit and tells them to keep things safe. He clearly doesn't expect Lu Xing to last more than a few seconds. The two fighters lock eyes across the mat as the crowd falls into a hushed silence. Everyone is waiting to see the school's top star crush the class failure. The instructor looks down at his notes. The teacher asks about Lu Xing's last vitality test and gets a measly score of 0.8. That bottom-tier number makes the instructor doubt if he even belongs in this ring. Yang Yipei flashes a confident smile and asks if his opponent is actually prepared to fight. He treats the whole situation like a boring warm-up exercise. Lu Xing ignores the disrespect and drops into a low, perfect combat stance. He tells the golden boy to come at him whenever he feels like it. Yang Yipei lunges forward with a punch. Yang Yipei attempts to control the distance and rhythm with a calculated strike. He thinks his superior technique will end this in a single heartbeat. The classmates watch with their mouths hanging open as the blonde prodigy moves like a blur. They are all convinced that Lu Xing is about to be sent straight to the infirmary. Yang Yipei pours his high vitality into a glowing, explosive fist. He is aiming to settle the match with one heavy blow for the cameras. Suddenly, the punch passes through empty space as Yang Yipei gasps in pure confusion. Lu Xing has already countered his movement with impossible speed. Lu Xing turns into a dark blur. He bypasses Yang Yipei's guard with a movement that defies human reaction time. Lu Xing drives a heavy, straight punch directly into the middle of Yang Yipei's face. The force of the impact ripples through the air as the blonde rival's head snaps back. A massive pillar of white and blue energy erupts from the point of contact, lighting up the entire facility. This isn't just a sparring match anymore, it's a total physical overhaul. The sheer pressure from the blow sends a gust of wind screaming toward the panicked spectators. Yang Yipei skids across the floor. He is sent flying dozens of feet backwards by the pure momentum of the strike. The instructor rushes in to catch the limp body of his star pupil before he hits the concrete. He looks at Lu Xing with a face full of genuine alarm and shock. Lu Xing stands perfectly still while a faint blue aura flickers around his eyes. He looks like a monster disguised in a school uniform. The students in the background are frozen, unable to process the violence they just witnessed. Speech bubbles fill the silent air. The crowd finally breaks their silence as they realize Lu Xing just ended the top-ranked student in one move. A title card flashes by as the reality of his 10,000-year training sinks in. Lu Xing pulls back his hand and stares at his knuckles with a look of pure bewilderment. He didn't realize he had become a living weapon during his time in the nightmare. Yang Yipei is sprawled out on the ground like a broken doll at the edge of the circle. The view from above shows the massive gap created between the two fighters. Lu Xing has officially put the entire school on notice. The instructor shouts at the stunned crowd to wake them up. He demands someone run to the nurse's office right now. The shock in the room is thick enough to cut with a knife. Medics quickly secure Yang Yipei onto a stretcher to haul him away. The class ace is totally unconscious after that single collision. Lu Xing scratches the back of his neck, looking more embarrassed than proud of his win. He tells teacher Zhong he really didn't mean for things to go this far. The instructor just places a heavy hand on his shoulder and tells him it's fine. Combat is dangerous, and he's just glad the damage isn't permanent. Meanwhile, the other students are losing their minds, whispering that Lu Xing must be using illegal enhancers. They can't wrap their heads around how a bottom-tier student just erased the strongest guy in the room. A heavy fist slams down onto a wooden desk. Teacher Zhong sits alone in his office, replaying the entire fight in his head. He realizes Lu Xing's power is already on par with a professional rank 2 martial artist. This kind of explosive growth in a teenager is practically unheard of in this district. Looking out at the city lights, he decides to keep Lu Xing a total secret for now. He wants the boy to be the school's hidden trump card for the upcoming national examinations. After years of holding back, the faculty finally has a genuine monster in their corner. Back in the gym, the remaining students watch in silence as Lu Xing prepares to leave. He walks toward the exit with a calm, steady pace that doesn't match his age. His shadow stretches long across the floor, signaling that the quiet life he once knew is officially over. The teacher opens a heavy black door. He gestures for Lu Xing to follow him into a private office. It is a quiet space away from the prying eyes of the other students. Lu Xing walks inside and immediately notices a well-groomed bonsai tree sitting on a shelf. The office feels much more sophisticated than the rest of the school gym. The instructor flashes a small smile and mentions that gardening is just a little hobby of his. He is trying to lower the student's guard before he starts the interrogation. Lu Xing stares back with a calm gaze. The teacher points out that his vitality was a measly 0.8 just a short while ago. Such a rapid transformation is practically unheard of in the martial arts world. The instructor's tone shifts as he asks if Lu Xing used prohibited drugs to force this growth. This is a heavy-duty question since getting caught would mean a permanent ban from all examinations. Lu Xing reacts with total shock and asks what kind of drugs he is even talking about. His genuine surprise makes it clear to the teacher that this power is completely natural. A bright blue orb glows in a box. The teacher pulls out the official testing device to get a definitive answer once and for all. He explains that if the vitality and combat strength match, then Lu Xing is the real deal. Lu Xing nods and steps up to the machine without a single hint of hesitation. A massive wave of blue energy surges through the room as the scan begins. The sheer pressure of his aura is enough to rattle the windows in their frames. The instructor screams in disbelief as the display locks in at 1.532. Seeing a high schooler with the power of a professional martial artist has completely shattered the teacher's reality. A glowing blue screen confirms his rank. The holographic display locks in, officially labeling Lu Xing a rank 1 martial artist at only 18. He's now the biggest genius the city has seen in years. Thick gray smoke billows out of the assessment machine as the teacher's eyes go wide with fear. The internal components simply couldn't handle the sheer density of Lu Xing's energy. Lu Xing stands over the wreckage holding a broken, glowing fragment from the core. He looks down at the floor which is now covered in deep, jagged cracks from his stance. This machine was a specialized model built to withstand the force of official warriors. Seeing it reduced to a pile of steaming scrap metal proves Lu Xing is in a league of his own. The instructor realizes his student isn't just talented, he's a monster. Lu Xing sits calmly in a chair. The scene shifts to a quiet office where Lu Xing waits for the fallout of his performance. He remains completely unfazed despite the chaos he just caused in the testing room. The instructor leans over his desk, desperate to know why Lu Xing's previous records showed a pathetic 0.8 vitality. It's an impossible gap to bridge for any normal human. When Lu Xing explains that the last test was only half a month ago, the teacher's jaw hits the floor. Gaining this much power in 2 weeks is a miracle that shatters the instructor's reality. The man begins to suspect Lu Xing is a secret heir to a powerful noble clan. He even asks if a legendary grandmaster is teaching him in the shadows. Lu Xing just stares back with those cold blue eyes and denies everything. He isn't a disciple or a noble, and the source of his strength is staying a secret. Two calloused hands press firmly against a wooden desk. The instructor reflects on his own journey of struggling for years just to reach rank 2. It is a reminder that even moderate success in this world requires a lifetime of pain. A flashback shows a soldier in heavy armor facing a jagged, purple monster. Humans are fundamentally unable to defeat these creatures without reaching a higher state of existence. A broken warrior then kneels in a dark crater, looking completely overwhelmed. Mankind is simply too small and weak to stand against such incomprehensible force. A figure finally descends from the sky with a massive, blinding impact. True power looks more like a natural disaster than a simple human technique. Several powerful warriors stand together in the pouring rain. These elite fighters are the only ones capable of truly pushing back the darkness. They represent the absolute peak of what a human can become through extreme cultivation. Lu Xing stares back at his teacher with a blue flame burning in his eye. His aura matches the terrifying presence of those legendary world defenders in the instructor's memory. The man realizes this boy is no longer just a student but something entirely incomprehensible. He is looking at a monster that has not even reached its full potential yet. The instructor leans back and sighs. He accepts that Lu Xing's talent has far surpassed the school's normal limits. The gap between them is now a physical reality the man can no longer ignore. He offers to contact the dean's office to move the boy into an elite program. Lu Xing politely declines the offer because his current class suits his secret needs. The instructor still insists on supporting him with any difficult cultivation resources he might require. He is desperate to stay on the good side of such a massive future powerhouse. Lu Xing points a finger and asks for a martial artist scholarship and a flexible timetable. He walks away with a $30,000 grant and total freedom over his school schedule. A hand extends a sleek black card. Teacher Zhong gives Lu Xing a massive advance on his scholarship to ensure he doesn't waste time. Lu Xing is stunned to see a martial arts black card loaded with 100,000 credits. He bows deeply to his mentor, finally having the resources he desperately needs. Zhong dismisses him to class, expecting the boy to bring the school total glory. This money changes the game for his training. Glass shards fly as energy surges. Lu Xing breaks through his mental limits, surrounded by streaks of crackling lightning. He is officially logging into a world 10,000 years in the future. This breakthrough marks the start of his true path to power. A white porcelain bottle rests in red. At a local medical hall, a clerk presents the Orchid Heart Nourishing Tonic. It is a premium product designed to stabilize vitality once a martial artist hits the .8 threshold. Customers stare in awe at the $30,000 price tag. Even basic progression requires a massive fortune in this competitive world. A wealthy mother buys expensive medicine. A clerk hands over a $30,000 tonic to a girl promising to rank first in the upcoming exams. Lu Xing watches from the street, his heart sinking as he compares his life to theirs. His own parents can only afford the cheapest supplements after working themselves to the bone. It is a harsh reality that money buys the fastest path to power in this world. A girl climbs glowing white stairs. This is the genius Qinghe, a girl with the natural talent to change her entire destiny. Lu Xing views himself as a heavy chain dragging behind her and draining his family's limited resources. He feels like a parasite holding back the only person in his home who can truly succeed. This crushing guilt is finally starting to break his resolve. Lu Xing pants heavily with gritted teeth. He admits he never put in the real effort needed to escape his mediocrity. While others trained, he wasted his days gaming with friends who offered to carry his rank. His classmates joke about digital victories while Lu Xing walks home in the shadows. He wanted the warrior's life but hid in a virtual world because it was easier than facing failure. Lu Xing's eyes reflect blue water. He compares his life to a fish trapped in a small tank, admitting he was too scared to leave his comfort zone. The safety was just a cage holding him back from the boundless sea. He begins to sink through the deep blue as his mindset shifts completely. Everything is about to change for him. Shards of glass explode everywhere. Lu Xing shatters the surface of the water and finally discovers the real world waiting beyond his fears. This is the moment he obtains the chance to change his destiny. He falls through the air with a new, hardened resolve. He won't make the wrong choice this time. Lu Xing walks toward the city. He stops in his tracks as a massive shock registers on his face. A flood of battle memories suddenly integrates into his mind all at once. Blue flames of energy erupt around his body as he clenches his hand into a fist. He's broken through his training bottleneck and finally mastered his lethal fist techniques. Lu Xing clenches his fist tightly. He realizes he has finally internalized the advanced fist techniques he's been practicing. This mental breakthrough means his physical training is finally paying off in a huge way. Lu Xing walks through the busy city streets carrying heavy grocery bags. He looks like any other student on the outside, but his internal power is now on a completely different level. Bags filled with expensive medicinal tonics. Lu Xing looks down at the heart tonics and acupuncture kits he bought for his parents. Providing for his family is the fuel that keeps his ambition burning every single day. He vows to keep growing stronger to protect his loved ones and secure their future. The weight of his responsibility is just as heavy as the martial path he has chosen to walk. A monster with glowing red eyes, a hideous creature from the ruins of base 1359 lunges forward with a deafening scream. The peaceful city life disappears as the brutal reality of the future dreamscape returns. The monster bares its jagged teeth and charges directly at the camera with lethal intent. Lu Xing has no time for fear because this is a fight for total survival. A monster leaps from the shadows. The red-eyed creature dives straight at Lu Xing with its claws out. It's a life-or-death moment that requires instant reactions. Lu Xing ducks under the frantic swipe as air whistles past his head. He avoids a lethal blow by just a few inches. He plants his feet and swings a heavy counterpunch into the monster's gut. The sheer force of the impact stops the beast's momentum dead in its tracks. Lu Xing stares with cold intensity. He watches the creature's every movement with supernatural focus. He isn't just surviving, he's taking complete control of the rhythm. Lu Xing steps into the monster's guard and unleashes a devastating high kick. That strike connects with a sickening thud against the creature's chest. The monster crashes into the dirt, finally silenced by the overwhelming force. Lu Xing stands over the body and catches his breath while sweat drips down his face. He realizes this thing was actually a trained martial artist before it turned into a mindless husk. Lu Xing stands over the defeated zombie. He notes that the creature kept its martial arts skills even in death. That makes every encounter here a potential death sentence. Using the monster's memories, Lu Xing targets base 1359. He expects a swarm of monsters, but the silence is unsettling. This eerie calm is definitely a bad sign. Red-eyed monsters suddenly lunge from the dark. Lu Xing reacts instantly and unleashes a wide energy slash. The blue blast tears through the horde and leaves nothing behind. He holds his combat stance with eyes glowing from the intensity. Suddenly, the nightmare creatures vanish. He blinks in confusion, wondering where the threat went. Lu Xing looks out across the vast wasteland. He whispers that he's finally made it. A massive, futuristic city gleams under a dome in the distance. This is the fabled base 1359, a remnant of a peak civilization. Lu Xing stands on a high cliff and overlooks the ruins. Everything he needs to grow stronger is waiting down there. Lu Xing stands atop the jagged cliffs overlooking base 1359. He takes a leap and slides down the steep rocky slope toward the city below. He's wasting no time getting into the heart of these ruins. Lu Xing reaches the bottom and gazes up at the massive, cracked fortifications in total awe. The sheer scale of the architecture makes him feel like a complete ant. The young martial artist stares at the towering stone fortifications ahead. Lu Xing notes that calling this place a base is a huge understatement since it's a full-scale metropolis. It is hard to believe a civilization this advanced could ever fall to monsters. He nervously jokes that he wouldn't even be surprised if massive behemoths walked out of the shadows right now. Lu Xing spots a giant fissure in the stone and decides to head inside. This narrow crack is his only ticket into the restricted zone. Lu Xing squeezes through the dark and narrow passageway. He huffs with effort while climbing over the jagged debris stuck between the walls. The physical toll of just entering the city is already starting to set in. Lu Xing finally reaches the inner side and realizes the walls are over 20 meters thick. Even with that much protection, something still managed to tear this entire world apart. Lu Xing touches the massive stone wall. He realizes these fortifications are over 20 meters thick. Even with that much protection, the entire civilization was wiped out. Lu Xing looks at the ruins and worries about the future of his own world. He then spots a unique structure that looks like an old military command center. It's remarkably well preserved compared to the rubble surrounding it. Lu Xing decides to investigate, hoping to find answers inside. Lu Xing steps into the dim building. He notices a mysterious figure sitting silently in the shadows. As he gets closer, he realizes this person isn't breathing. The figure suddenly looks up, revealing glowing eyes and a rusted sword. It's a zombie, and it's definitely not friendly. Before Lu Xing can even draw a breath, the creature lets out a deafening screech. It releases a massive surge of energy and lunges forward with terrifying speed. A blinding blue flash explodes right in front of Lu Xing's eyes. The creature's energy hits him with the force of a massive collision, knocking the wind straight out of his lungs. He's sent flying backward, his boots carving deep grooves into the dirt as he tries to stop his momentum. This isn't just a simple fight, it's a total massacre of his current defenses. Lu Xing crashes onto the ground, his body sliding painfully across the sharp debris. He huffs and pants, clutching his chest while his vision swims from the sudden impact. A haunting image of the creature's glowing eyes flashes in his mind, making him realize he just survived a psychic shockwave. The intimidating force behind that attack is enough to make any normal person quit. He pushes himself up, looking at the futuristic tower looming over the ruins. Lu Xing admits that his current power isn't high enough to challenge that area yet. He decides to leave the main base alone for now and scout the safer surroundings instead. To grow stronger, he has to be smart enough to live through the night. Lu Xing looks out over the jagged gray cliffs. He decides to turn back for now and focus on surveying the safer areas of the ruins. Below him, several rotting zombies wander through a narrow concrete alleyway between the high-rises. He notes that these slow enemies don't look very scary compared to what he just survived. It's the perfect time for Lu Xing to test his combat skills on some easier targets. A zombie lets out a sudden, guttural roar that echoes through the base. Suddenly, a massive white energy strike flashes across the ruins and shreds the creature into nothingness. Lu Xing crouches low on a high ledge, keeping his eyes glued to the street below as the dust settles. He is shocked to find the entire area has been completely cleared of the undead in an instant. This sudden silence suggests he's found a unique zone, and he's eager to see what secrets it's hiding. Lu Xing enters a quiet, dusty apartment. He scans the room and notes the eerie lack of monsters. Cutlery still sits on the table, abandoned mid-meal. It is a chilling frozen moment from the start of the apocalypse. He picks up a stray spoon to see there was no struggle. Windows and doors aren't even damaged. Lu Xing wonders why the black mist didn't turn these ordinary people into zombies. He sets the utensil down and spots a glowing object on a nearby desk. His hand reaches for a glowing blue disc. Lu Xing presses the center and the device pulses with life. A digital interface flickers as the system exits standby mode. This is the spark of something massive. Pillars of light erupt, swirling around his feet as the ancient machine restarts. From the data stream, a beautiful blonde hologram finally materializes. She welcomes Lu Xing as a user of Tianheng technology. The AI gazes at him with a calm, digital stare that changes everything. A digital blonde woman smiles down. The hologram glows with soft neon light as Lu Xing stares up in total disbelief. He can't help but wonder if this is some kind of high-level virtual reality. His mind is racing just to keep up with the impossible technology standing right in front of him. This massive shift in reality leaves the young martial artist completely stunned. Lu Xing's eye widens in shock. He catches a detail that stops his heart for a second. The AI is actually speaking his exact native language. This connection suggests the lost civilization isn't as foreign as he first thought. It's a game-changing revelation that finally bridges his world with these ancient ruins. The digital interface fades to black. The system connection stabilizes as the intense vision finally pulls back into the void. This encounter is only the beginning of Lu Xing's massive rise to power. With the secrets of Tianheng technology now in his hands, his path to the top is officially paved. Blue energy arcs surround a young man. Lu Xing dives back into the digital apocalypse to hunt for some desperate answers. He's not wasting a single second in this dying world. A tall, glowing blonde hologram appears directly in front of him. The AI greets him in a language he actually understands. It's the first real connection he's made in this desolate place. Blue data screens float around the digital girl. She introduces herself as Ellie, the built-in AI for Base 1359. This is the central brain of the entire ruin facility and his only hope. Lu Xing speaks to the bowing AI. Lu Xing asks for the latest news from the long 10,000-year history. He needs to know exactly how the world ended. Hundreds of green digital documents fill the air. Ellie connects to Skynet and pulls up thousands of high-level records. The sheer volume of data is totally overwhelming for a normal person. Text blocks detail fallen bases and lost spacecraft. These logs show humanity's final, desperate struggle against total extinction. Every single entry is a literal obituary for a major city. A hooded figure radiates blinding golden light. Lu Xing spots a report on a rank 10-star realm powerhouse. If their ranking matches his world, this guy is basically a living god walking the earth. Lu Xing watches scrolling green energy pages. He digs deeper into the dark history of the world's martial alliance. He's looking for the exact turning point that broke civilization. A massive, spiked red monster roars loudly. The records show a Titan-class beast completely destroying a major defensive line. Even the strongest warriors on the planet couldn't stop these primeval nightmares. Purple flying skulls swarm over ruined buildings. A sky full of monsters descends on the last human bases. It's a total massacre with absolutely no survivors left in sight. Lu Xing watches a flickering digital screen. He stares as the monitor shows how his world's peak martial arts and technology reached unimaginable heights just before the fall. The sheer scale of the advancement makes the eventual loss feel even more crushing. He looks at images of ruined city walls that were once thought to be indestructible. Even the rank 10 powerhouses, the absolute gods of combat, were slaughtered like insects by these monsters. It is a terrifying reminder that raw power alone was not enough to save anyone. A bright spaceship streaks across the sky. Lu Xing learns that humanity actually tried to abandon Earth, sending exploration teams deep into the vast galaxy. They were desperately searching for a new home, but every single ship met a silent, cold end. Lu Xing's expression turns grim as the data confirms that no good news ever came back from the stars. He sits down heavily, overwhelmed by the weight of this lost, glorious civilization. It is a tragic sight to see such a high-tech era reduced to digital ghosts in a ruined base. Blue light swirls around the long-haired AI. Ellie begins retrieving the full history of the world as the room glows with ancient data streams. Lu Xing watches his own reflection on the glass, realizing that even this powerful future could not escape total destruction. Suddenly, he reaches out and slams his hand onto the screen to pause the scrolling feed. The records display the birth of the first martial artist with inner chi from the ancient Dragon Kingdom in year 34 MC. Lu Xing's eyes widen and he starts sweating as a terrifying realization hits him. He recognizes this specific timeline, and it is much closer to his own reality than he ever imagined. Lu Xing stares at the screen with a grim expression. He realizes the martial arts system and language match his present day perfectly. This confirms he isn't just in a dream, but a vision of his world's graveyard. His eyes widen as the weight of a 10,000-year extinction finally sinks in. The future he's looking at is the literal end of everything he knows. Lu Xing turns to the blonde AI, Ellie, asking her to search for his own name. A digital file pops up instantly, confirming a match for a man named Lu Sheng. He reaches out to touch the hologram, reading the date of his own death in the original timeline. The record shows he only lived to age 28. It's a pathetic, short life that he refuses to accept. Lu Sheng tries to dig deeper into the database for more information. The AI waits patiently as he tries to navigate the terminal. A massive red warning sign flashes across the AI's chest, blocking his path. She tells him that further access requires him to register as an official user. He needs to provide a genetic blood sample to unlock the higher-level secrets of the repository. The blonde AI suddenly leans forward and grabs Lu Sheng's hand. Before he can react, she sinks her teeth into his finger to draw blood. Lu Sheng's face turns bright red as he stares at the holographic girl in total shock. He didn't expect the collection process to be this personal. It's a bizarre moment of physical contact with a digital being. A blue notification confirms the blood sample is collected and the analysis has begun. Ellie pulls back, wiping her mouth as she processes his unique genetic code. Her eyes flicker with digital static as she focuses on the incoming data. She lets out a confused hum, sensing something abnormal about his DNA. Lu Sheng watches closely, knowing his life is about to change forever. Bright orange flames roar across the interface. The AI initiates Project Fireseed and links up with the massive 1359 repository. A high-level protocol bypasses standard restrictions to search for his specific records. Lu Sheng stares at the floating red windows, asking the AI what Fireseed even is. He realizes he's tapping into a secret weapon of the human race. Digital permissions are granted instantly, flashing across the dark room. The system confirms his status as a successor to humanity's lost knowledge. A red digital profile fills the air. This is Lu Sheng's life record from the original timeline, showing he died at 37. It's a depressing summary of a level 4 martial artist who never reached the top. Lu Sheng scans the milestones, noticing his face in the photo looks like a stranger's. He sees himself graduating from Baihe University and joining the military shortly after. The screen displays his service record followed by a lonely death in the southern war zone. It's a brutal reminder that his original path led straight to a forgotten grave. Lu Sheng stares at the red text. He realizes his sudden surge in strength is already written into this dark history. Even with his explosive growth, he didn't even cause a ripple in the ocean of time. To the future, his current achievements are completely insignificant. Lu Sheng lets out a soft breath, realizing the world has seen countless geniuses come and go. He understands that simply being talented isn't enough to save anyone. If he wants to change his fate, he must become a legend that history cannot ignore. Floating data circles surround Lu Sheng. He stares at the digital screens and realizes the historical data on him is completely wrong. The record says his vitality was only 2.012, but that's a joke compared to his current state. He watches the data nodes flicker and realizes these old stats don't take his dreamworld cultivation into account at all. He's already grown way past what the original timeline ever expected of him. Lu Sheng looks up at the sky and wonders how he could ever settle for being ranked 23rd in the city. He's finished living as a background character in someone else's story. Blue eyes glow with sudden intensity. Lu Sheng focuses his gaze as the words Fireseed Repository flash before him. He's certain that his actual future is going to be worth way more than these outdated records. He looks at his clenched fists and feels the raw power flowing through his veins. If he can just keep getting stronger, he knows he can rewrite the end of the world. Lu Sheng stares directly ahead with a terrifying level of resolve. He's decided that the fate of humanity's destruction ends with him and no one else. Nightmarish monsters tower over innocent faces. Lu Sheng sees the terrifying zombies and creatures that wiped out his species in the original timeline. He promises to turn the tide and save everyone from this bloody fate. A massive wall of fire erupts as his silhouette stands against the flickering flames. He's ready to become the blaze that guides humanity through its darkest hour. The screen transitions as his resolve is finally set in stone. He's officially logging 10,000 years into the future to change it all. Tall, weathered apartment buildings stand against a clear sky. Back in the real world, Lu Sheng sits at the dining table while his mother asks why he isn't wearing his school uniform. He calmly takes a bite of food and explains that his teacher gave him permission to study from home starting today. It's a calculated move, but his voice is steady and totally convincing. He needs every second of solitude he can get to dive back into the dream world. His family doesn't suspect a thing as he maintains this new, focused persona. Lu Qinghe chews on her bread with a suspicious look. She's never heard of a self-study option before, and the sudden change in her brother's behavior is becoming hard to ignore. Lu Xing brushes off the questioning stares and announces he's heading back to his room to train. His mother cheers him on from the table, thrilled to see him finally taking his martial arts seriously. As he walks away, a faint blue energy flickers around his silhouette, marking the transition from a lazy student to a man possessed. He steps into his room and the door shuts with a definitive clack. A smartphone vibrates on the wooden desk with a bright blue glow. Lu Xing answers the call immediately, greeting teacher Zhong with a voice that's far too mature for a high schooler. Over at the training grounds, Zhong Xinghua is genuinely confused, asking why his star pupil is playing hooky instead of discussing his future schedule. He's used to Lu Xing being average, but the person on the phone feels like a complete stranger. Lu Xing stares into space with those piercing blue eyes, telling his teacher that his time is running out. He can't afford to waste a single second on normal school life anymore. It's a heavy declaration that leaves the instructor speechless on the other end. Glowing blue energy crackles around him. Lu Xing makes a final decision to stop hiding his power and start shocking the world. He knows that staying low-key is just a trap that leads to a dead-end life. If he wants the best resources, he has to prove he's worth the investment. He stares at a mental image of a towering mountain peak, representing his new ambition to reach the top. The days of being a mediocre soldier are officially over, and he's ready to ignite his potential. The dusty lounge sits in silence. Lu Xing calls out to Ellie, demanding every cultivation method and master note his permissions can handle. He's looking for the secrets that the greatest warriors left behind before the world fell. Massive red pillars of digital data erupt from the floor as the system processes the request. It's a literal ocean of information stored by a civilization that refused to be forgotten. He stands at the center of this digital storm, finally grasping the power to rewrite his fate. Lu Xing eyes the floating text. He tells the AI to filter for the absolute best techniques suitable for a rank 1 martial artist. The system sorts through tens of thousands of results in a single heartbeat. 3 high-level techniques finally stabilize on the red holographic screens in front of him. Lu Xing realizes he is looking at the distilled essence of 10,000 years of human mastery. He hones in on the natural breathing technique, created by a legendary rank 11 powerhouse. These aren't just moves, they are the keys to surviving the coming apocalypse. With these in hand, he's no longer just a student, he's the successor of a fallen world. A glowing scroll radiates a soft pink light. Lu Xing stares at the crystal visualization technique, a legendary manual crafted by a rank 11 powerhouse from the World Martial Alliance. Considering the strongest martial artist in his current era barely hits rank 9, finding a rank 11 legacy is absolutely world-shattering. He watches as 3 different high-level icons float right in front of him, waiting to be claimed. All of these peak techniques have been preserved within the Fire Seed repository. It is clear the masters of the future predicted their own extinction and left this archive as a last hope for the species. Lu Xing looks deeply into the red light. He realizes the creators wanted a hero from the future to keep their fire burning, but he is the one who found it instead. He decides to begin the stellar body refining technique immediately, forcing his mind to go completely still to focus. Deep inside his body, his microscopic blood cells start to vibrate and glow with a strange purple energy. The manual instructs him to transform each individual cell into a star that holds limitless potential. He is effectively rewriting his biological limits on a molecular level. Streams of cosmic energy swirl through space. His blood is no longer just liquid, it is a surging galaxy that turns his internal body into an ever-changing starfield. The physical output is massive, causing his defense and raw strength to grow until they are unimaginably powerful. Lu Xing huffs and wipes the sweat from his face, shocked at the sheer gap in quality. If his previous body refining was a 1, this new stellar version is 1,000 times more effective. He doesn't stop there and pulls up the natural breathing technique, specifically selecting the first stage called fire breathing. Raging flames engulf Lu Xing's body. He activates the fire breathing technique, letting the heat surge through his veins like liquid sun. Lu Xing opens his eyes and exhales a heavy cloud of steam, feeling the raw elemental power settle into his core. He stares at his hand as orange embers pulse beneath his skin, realizing this is just the beginning of what the future repository offers. This first stage alone is more intense than any training he's ever done. He's already thinking about the other elemental paths he can unlock. Lu Xing crouches before the AI. He selects the crystal visualization technique to sharpen his mental focus and reinforce his will. Blue light begins to spiral around him as he settles into a meditative pose on the cold floor. Lu Xing decides to give it a try right now, wanting to see if his mind can handle the strain. The swirling energy forms a protective barrier, signaling the start of a deep mental training session. A massive glowing figure appears. Lu Xing stares up at a giant, muscular projection representing the peak of spiritual power and mental fortitude. His own blue spirit floats toward the center of the figure's chest, looking tiny compared to the monumental willpower required for this rank. He understands that a strong-willed martial artist is far more dangerous than one distracted by basic desires. Several small blue versions of Lu Xing float around the head of the giant, representing his consciousness expanding. He realizes he'll have to figure this out slowly to avoid shattering his own mind. Masterful techniques like this don't just come with a simple download. Lu Xing's eyes snap open. He's back in the physical world, gasping for air as sweat pours down his face in the dimly lit room. His blue eyes glow with a lingering, sharp intensity from the visualization training he just underwent. He hunches over, his heart hammering against his ribs from the sheer exhaustion of the dream world session. Even though his physical body didn't move, the mental power he brought back is very real and very dangerous. Lu Xing wipes his sweaty arm. He looks down in disgust as the grime from his dream world session physically coats his skin in the real world. This physical residue proves that his body is actually undergoing a massive, high-speed transformation while he sleeps. He peels off his soaked shirt and grabs a bottle, already planning how to use his scholarship money to refine future tonics. By accessing the elixir database in his mind, Lu Xing realizes he holds secrets that could change the pharmaceutical trajectory of the entire world. However, he quickly understands that even the simplest future medicine requires professional laboratory equipment he currently lacks. He needs a way to bridge the gap between his god-tier knowledge and his very human lack of resources. Lu Xing walks down a busy street. He heads toward the local medicinal halls because buying a full suite of alchemical equipment is way outside his current budget. Being a broke student means he has to rely on existing facilities if he wants to start his refining process immediately. He approaches the Bai Lao medicinal hall to ask for a workspace, but a bearded shop owner with his arms crossed flat out refuses him entry. The man isn't about to let some random teenager mess around with his secret prescriptions or his expensive gear. Lu Xing sighs as he walks away, marking this as the 7th time he's been rejected by a shop today. Despite the setbacks, he looks down at a brown paper bag filled with various high-quality herbs. He's already bought enough raw ingredients to make several batches, proving he's determined to find a way to cook these elixirs regardless of who stands in his way. Lu Xing stares at his glowing card. He realizes he might need to accept a personal sponsorship if he can't find another way to fund his growing list of needs. As he emerges from a dim alleyway, he spots a shop called Xing Shan and pauses to consider his next move. He's scanning the street for any opportunity to bypass the typical market restrictions. Every single resource counts when you're trying to rewrite a future that already ended in failure. He's determined to stay ahead of the curve. Blue energy swirls around Lu Xing. The narrative shifts back to the sunny grounds of Baihe High where the usual morning drills are in full swing. Dozens of students are running and shouting across the track, putting in the work for their basic exams. It's a stark contrast between their mundane school life and the brutal, apocalyptic reality Lu Xing faces every night. While they train for grades, he's training to prevent a literal extinction event. Zhong hands Lu Xing a card. The instructor demands a heads up the next time his star student decides to skip school for several days. Lu Xing keeps his gaze lowered and offers a polite apology to teacher Zhong for the trouble. Zhong sighs and tells him to go do what he has to, but insists he shows up at least once a week. It's a rare moment of leniency from a battle-hardened man who usually demands total compliance. He's clearly making an exception for Lu Xing's obvious potential. Lu Xing walks through the door. Zhong watches him leave the office, feeling a deep sense of unease because he can no longer grasp the boy's true power. He feels like the student he knew just a few days ago is being replaced by a complete monster. Lu Xing looks down at the card in his palm, relieved that he finally has some actual capital to spend. He needs to address his poor vitality levels immediately if he wants to survive the next tier of the dream world. With this money in his pocket, he's finally one step closer to breaking through his human limits and reaching the next rank. Lu Xing looks over a list of advanced medical recipes. He narrows down his choices to the muscle-strengthening decoction and the marrow-nourishing pill to maximize his growth. He makes his way to a local pharmacy, but the shopkeeper is barely paying attention to the door. The guy is slumped over his desk, eyes glued to his phone while he mumbles about some novel he's reading. He even has the nerve to warn Lu Xing about the security cameras, assuming he's just another broke kid looking to pocket some free supplies. The clerk keeps scrolling through a dating app. He's totally checked out and treats the shop like his personal lounge, showing zero interest in actually helping a customer. Lu Xing doesn't say a word, but the atmosphere in the tiny shop begins to warp. Suddenly, the air feels like lead as Lu Xing releases a surge of his genuine power. The clerk's heart nearly stops when he feels the raw, suffocating pressure of a real warrior's presence for the first time in his life. Beads of sweat roll down the shopkeeper's face. He looks up at Lu Xing with wide, bloodshot eyes, realizing he's just insulted someone who could end his life in a single heartbeat. He starts stuttering and shaking, frantically asking if Lu Xing is really there for the high-end tonics after all. Lu Xing doesn't get angry or lose his cool, he just flashes a calm, knowing smile that's honestly way more terrifying than any loud shout. He's finally ready to stop playing small and start making his own moves in the real world. Just as the lights dim, a new player enters the scene with a serious business proposition for him, proving that Lu Xing is finally moving into the big leagues. Lu Xing walks down a sterile, well-lit hallway. He's on a mission to find a lab where he can work in peace, and he finally tracks down Ma Fei to strike a deal. Ma Fei confirms the price is 500 per hour, flashing an OK sign while Lu Xing listens intently. Lu Xing doesn't hesitate for a second, reaching into his bag to retrieve his payment card. He asks if they want the money up front, and once the transaction clears, Ma Fei excitedly waves him into the facility. He steps through the heavy circular doors, ready to put his plans into motion. Lu Xing pulls back his white lab sleeves. He takes a deep breath, mentally preparing for his very first attempt at brewing a high-level tonic. He strides across the clean laboratory floor, his mind racing through the complex steps he learned from the future memory bank. He starts by laying out the raw materials, knowing that even a small mistake could ruin the entire batch. This is the moment where his theoretical knowledge meets the physical world. He's determined to see if the 10,000-year gap in technology really makes a difference. Vibrant green energy bubbles inside a glass tank. Lu Xing focuses on activating the medicinal properties of the scales, ensuring every bit of essence is released. He quickly adds a neutralizing agent to balance the mixture, keeping the concentration at exactly 38%. Next, he liquefies a condensed moonstone, watching as the material decomposes into a flowing liquid. He grinds down 50 grams of lithified tree root, adding the final component to the swirling blue vortex. The ingredients begin to react, merging into a pink fluid that flows perfectly into his test tube. It's a masterclass in precision that would leave modern experts speechless. Lu Xing holds a vial of pink medicine. He can't believe he actually managed to pull it off on the very first try without wasting a single ingredient. This is a tonic designed 10,000 years in the future, and its potency should be off the charts. He stares at the shimmering liquid, feeling the weight of his success. There's no point in waiting, so he brings the vial to his lips to test the results. He gulps the entire thing down in one go, waiting for the massive surge of energy to hit his system. Lu Xing stares at the empty vial while questioning if the formula actually worked. He worries that he might have failed the refinement because his body feels completely normal for several seconds. Suddenly, a jagged flash of light erupts behind his eyes as the chemical reaction finally triggers deep within his marrow. The energy hits his core like a physical explosion, forcing a raw, gut-wrenching scream from his lungs as his cells are set on fire. His internal biology is being violently rewritten and upgraded by the tonic's high-grade future potency. It's an agonizing evolution, but his physical frame is holding together through sheer grit and the strength of his technique. Lu Xing sprawls out on the laboratory floor while gasping for every tiny bit of air. He remains motionless on the tile for several seconds, letting the intense internal heat from the transformation finally fade away into his surroundings. He realizes the massive, vitality void, created by his rapid rank up has been completely filled to the brim in an instant. It's an incredible sensation of physical wholeness that he hasn't felt since he started this grueling journey. Lu Xing sits up and examines his gloved hand, noticing his skin is becoming visibly denser and his pores are shrinking. He isn't just gaining raw power. His entire body is being polished into a peak human weapon with enhanced durability. Lu Xing hears a sudden crash and looks toward the back of the facility door. Ma Fei bursts into the room with a look of pure, unadulterated terror written across his face. The assistant starts shouting at him to flee through the back exit because their secret window of time has officially run out. He's clearly terrified of the consequences if Lu Xing is discovered using the high-end private equipment without permission. Outside, a sharp black heel clicks onto the pavement as a luxury car door swings shut in the parking lot. He Ling, the facility's lead refiner, begins walking toward the entrance while casually tossing her car keys into the air. She looks elegant and composed in her floral cheongsam, completely unaware that a medicinal miracle just happened inside her lab. Blue electricity crackles around Lu Xing. The camera pans across the clean floor tiles of the research facility. It's the quiet, sterile calm before the storm of progress finally hits. Lu Xing channels his futuristic energy as the series title card flashes onto the screen. He is closing a massive power gap with every single breath he takes. He is transforming into a living weapon that this era isn't prepared to handle. The world is completely oblivious to the monster currently growing in its shadow. He Ling stands under bright lab lights. She looks down at a crate of failed vials filled with colorful but useless liquids. Her professional reputation is on the line because her latest batch is essentially expensive junk. The equipment is perfect, but the actual results are a total disaster for her reputation. She throws her hands up and shouts that the medicinal effects are beyond poor. The fact that the medicinal properties won't activate is a nightmare for her research. She is rapidly running out of options to save her failing projects. A martial artist flexes on a TV. A news broadcast features a muscular man shouting about the high standards of the modern age. It serves as a loud reminder of how fast the martial world is moving. The competition is fierce and her time is finally running out. He Ling turns away from the screen, her glowing eyes filled with a deep professional dread. She understands that better prescriptions are being developed by her rivals every single day. If she doesn't change, her traditional hall will be eliminated from the market forever. A hand rests next to a photograph. He Ling stares at the picture of her family business while drowning in her own thoughts. She realizes her conservative habits have allowed her competitors to steal their entire market lead. The legacy her father entrusted to her is now on the verge of vanishing completely. She bites down on her finger with a sharp crack and curses her current situation. Her desperation for a miracle breakthrough is finally reaching its absolute breaking point. He Ling spins around with intense focus. She knows she needs a new medicinal prescription from a neighboring city to save her family from ruin. It's a desperate gamble, but she's determined to get her hands on it no matter what. As her high heels click sharply against the wooden floor, Ma Fei watches her walk by with total adoration. He starts swooning over her cool and aloof demeanor, calling her his forever goddess. Ma Fei even starts daydreaming about them becoming lovebirds and living happily ever after in a romantic novel. He's already planning his successful career and marriage in his head when a loud scream breaks his trance. He Ling yells his name at the top of her lungs, instantly shattering his little fantasy and bringing him back to the real world. He Ling points aggressively at her dirty white coat. She demands to know if Ma Fei secretly let someone into her private alchemical lab while she was away. She's absolutely fuming because her professional gear is covered in stains and the whole room is a mess. Ma Fei starts trembling and jolts in fear as he tries to defend himself against her accusations. He swears he didn't do it, but he can barely get the words out under her terrifying glare. He tries to beg for a chance to explain himself, but a sharp clack echoes from deep inside the lab. They both freeze in their tracks, realizing that something strange is happening behind those doors. Water pours over the contaminated and dirty laboratory equipment. Ling is incredibly pissed that she has to wash and disinfect every single tool all over again. She starts scrubbing the tables with a cloth while grumbling about the massive waste of time. Suddenly, she spots a mutant green-scaled lizard sitting inside a glowing blue jar. She realizes someone used a specific activator on the creature, but the most valuable scales have been completely removed. Ling lets out a dry chuckle and shakes her head at the ridiculous situation. She's convinced that developing real prescriptions requires vast pharmacological knowledge that a random intruder couldn't possibly possess. Ling stands in her lab. She mutters to herself about how people shouldn't place their hopes on things that are completely unrealistic. It's clear she's starting to question her own sanity for even looking at this mess. She spots the broken equipment scattered around and lets out a weary, deep sigh. The intruder didn't just use her lab, they trashed it on the way out. But then, she lifts a small glass vial to her nose to catch the lingering scent. This combination of condensed moonstone and lithified tuna tree root is something she has never seen in her entire professional career. Pink eyes stare at the vial. Ling admits to herself that she has never even heard of a prescription using these specific components. The complexity is baffling and goes against every standard refining rule she knows. She pulls out a cigarette and takes a long, pensive drag while staring into space. The deep silence of the lab allows her to focus entirely on the chemical reactions happening in that jar. Suddenly, her eyes snap wide with a look of pure, unadulterated terror and awe. She finally understands the hidden logic of the recipe, and it's far more advanced than anything she could ever create herself. Ma Fei walks down the street. He lets out a miserable sigh while carrying his heavy luggage through the quiet district. He's convinced that his career is officially over and he's been thrown out for good. He stops and looks back at the building with a face filled with absolute heartbreak. In his mind, his destiny with his goddess, Ling, has come to a pathetic, sudden end. Suddenly, a sharp voice cuts through the air, screaming his name twice at the top of its lungs. He pauses, looking over his shoulder with a look of pure confusion and disbelief. Ma Fei's eyes fill with tears of joy as Ling orders him to stop right there. The sudden shift from total despair to a second chance is almost too much for him to handle. Ma Fei leaps into the air with pure joy. He screams at the top of his lungs that he'll never leave Ling's side now that his job is safe. The assistant has gone from total despair to manic excitement in a matter of seconds. However, Ling isn't in the mood for hugs and grabs his shirt, aggressively demanding to know who was in her lab. She's finally connected the dots and realized that the mess Lu Xing left is actually a miracle cure. She shakes the poor guy until his teeth rattle, promising him a massive pay raise if he brings the master back. Ma Fei fumbles with his phone, desperately trying to show her Lu Xing's contact info. He realizes that the quiet kid from earlier is actually his biggest meal ticket. Ling's eyes widen as she analyzes the remaining medicine. She calculates that this new tonic is 10 times more potent than anything currently selling for $100,000. This isn't just a slight improvement, it's a world-class breakthrough that will change the industry. She doesn't waste a single second and immediately gets on the phone to report the discovery. Her face is a mix of greed and genuine awe as she tells her contact that she's finally found it. The hunt for Lu Xing is no longer about a lab violation, it's about securing the most valuable asset in the city. Blue lightning crackles around Lu Xing's silhouette. He stands at the center of a cosmic storm as the energy from his training begins to fuse with his biology. The sheer pressure of the evolution is visible in the way the air hums around him. He opens his glowing blue eyes, and they burn with an intensity that shows his rising power level. He's no longer the average student he was just a few days ago. Lu Xing places a steady hand over his heart, feeling his pulse thrumming with the power of a star. He reflects on how the rank 11 stellar body refining technique is unearthing potential that the human race hasn't seen in millennia. It's a level of strength that is simply beyond comprehension, and he's only just getting started. Lu Xing stands in his room clutching his chest as power flows through him. He realizes the rank 11 stellar body refining technique is unearthing potential that shouldn't even be possible for a human. His vitality has spiked significantly after using the 12 portions of decoction he brewed earlier today. He knows his current supply won't last long, and he'll need to find a way to make more in under a week. Just as he's planning his next move, a loud ringing breaks his concentration. He turns toward his desk, curious about who could be calling at this hour. The young martial artist picks up his phone and sees an unfamiliar number on the screen. It's Ling, the woman in charge of Xingshan Medical Hall, and she's calling him a master. She sounds absolutely frantic, apologizing for the intrusion while begging for a chance to collaborate on his new medicine. She believes his formula is an epic-making product that will change the entire industry. Lu Xing stays completely calm and tells her that they can meet up in exactly 1 week. Ling is stunned by the delay because she knows every second counts. Ling suddenly snaps and grabs her assistant Ma Fei by the shirt. She tells him there is no way they are waiting a full week and orders him to find the boy immediately. To motivate him, she promises a massive $10,000 bonus for every day he manages to shave off that wait time. Ma Fei is instantly sold, begging his boss to keep her word as he dreams of the payday. But then, the assistant stops in his tracks as a realization hits him like a freight train. He looks back at the records, wondering if they've made a huge mistake. Ling looks down at the data on her screen with a face full of shock. She finally sees Lu Xing's profile and realizes the alchemical master she's chasing is just a high school student. The professional refiner is left speechless, staring at the image of a boy who should be studying for exams, not mastering ancient medicine. She wonders how someone so young could possibly possess knowledge that outclasses the city's top experts. Her heart races as she questions who this kid actually is. The mystery of Lu Xing is only getting deeper, and He Ling is now obsessed with finding the truth. Blue title text glows on screen. The story returns to the wasteland as Lu Xing re-enters his dream training. This transition brings us right back to the brutal survival grind. He stands on a slab of cracked, weathered pavement under a dying sky. The ground beneath his boots splinters from the weight of his newly refined physical presence. His body is adapting to the stellar body refining technique at a terrifying rate. Knuckles collide with a jagged jaw. Lu Xing delivers a brutal punch that shatters the metallic plate on a zombie's face. His raw striking power is now leagues above a standard martial artist. Faint trails of purple energy drift from the fallen monster as it starts to dissolve. He focuses on absorbing the soul memories to strengthen his own mind. He reaches his hand up to pull the final bits of energy into his body. This harvesting process is making him more dangerous by the second. Intense blue eyes scan the area. Lu Xing exhales a cold mist and beckons the next nightmare to step forward. He looks completely composed despite being surrounded by high-level threats. A tall zombie in a red shirt looms over him with glowing purple eyes. This monster is a significant step up from the typical wasteland drones. Lu Xing stays grounded, waiting for the perfect moment to counter the beast. Blue light trails a fast dash. Lu Xing pivots on his heel and accelerates with incredible kinetic energy. He closes the gap in a fraction of a second to catch the enemy off guard. His eyes stay locked on his target as he prepares a concentrated final blow. He drives his fist into the monster's chest with a deafening crack. The sheer force of the impact sends a ripple through the air, obliterating the target. Lu Xing stands over the remains, his breathing completely calm after the execution. Lu Xing blocks a powerful strike. He realizes the zombie's raw power is at least twice as strong as his own current physical limit. Taking these heavy blows head-on is a dangerous suicide mission he definitely cannot afford. The undead creature lunges forward again with a blood-soaked fist and nothing but murderous intent. This relentless assault forces Lu Xing to stay perfectly focused on every single muscle twitch. The zombie lets out a guttural roar as it closes the distance with terrifying speed. It is a mindless killing machine fueled by a base instinct to destroy everything in its path. Its rotted teeth and glowing pink eyes show just how far gone this creature truly is. There is no room for mercy when facing a nightmare that only knows violence. A white shockwave trails a kick. Lu Xing pivots on a dime and unleashes a devastating roundhouse through the cold air. The incredible velocity of his movement creates a visible trail of sharp white energy. He extends his leg fully to catch the zombie directly under its decaying jaw. His intense training and new technique finally collide in this one perfect strike. A blinding flash erupts as the blow connects with absolute bone-shattering precision. The impact is so heavy it practically vibrates through the ground of the entire dream world. This single move proves that his evolution is already reaching a whole new level of power. Dark smoke rises from the earth. Lu Xing exhales a long, heavy breath as the monster's form begins to evaporate into the sky. The high-intensity pressure of the life-or-death fight finally starts to fade away from his mind. He looks down at the dark remains with a solemn and respectful expression on his face. He understands that this warrior likely died a hero while protecting the city on the front lines. Lu Xing stands alone under the vast stars while reflecting on the tragedy of the wasteland. These aren't just random monsters to him anymore, but the tragic remains of human beings who have passed on. Lu Xing stands over a body while energy rises. He realizes the creature's immense power came from raw muscle memory rather than actual skill. He reflects on how much stronger he's becoming by absorbing these combat memories directly into his own mind. Blue outlines of martial forms appear as he calculates his next biological evolution. He plans to merge the high-level stellar body refining technique with his natural breathing to multiply his power output. A massive set of gray legs suddenly looms over him like a mountain. A new, hulking monster is creeping up to catch Lu Xing off guard. Lu Xing glows blue while preparing a massive blast. He doesn't flinch and instead funnels all his new power into a single, devastating strike. He gives his new move a name, calling it Impact as he releases the built-up tension. The energy blast collides directly with the zombie's head in a violent, white-hot explosion. The monster is completely erased before it can even finish its swipe. Lu Xing has successfully confirmed that his combat level is reaching terrifying new heights. The scene fades through bright blue transition bars as he prepares to wake up and head back to reality. Lu Xing stands before a woman with purple hair. He walks into the training facility and greets the staff member with a casual nod. He asks senior sister Ni if there is an empty training room available for his next session. She looks at him like an overeager kid and asks why he is back so soon. She warns him that vitality takes a long time to increase and he shouldn't rush the process. Lu Xing just offers a polite, knowing smile while keeping his monstrous growth a total secret. He reflects on how this is his second visit this month and his actual stats would likely give her a heart attack. She laughs it off and hands him the key for room 206. He heads toward the training area to continue his insane, secret grind. Lu Xing places his hand firmly onto the glowing sensor of the vitality tester. The screen immediately updates to show a massive 15.6 vitality rating, which officially places him at the level of a rank 2 martial artist. Lu Xing looks at the results and can't help but let out a confident smile. He knows that combining supreme martial arts with advanced future tonics is basically like using a cheat code for his biology. If he didn't see results like this after all that intense grinding, it would actually be pretty strange. A heavy metal training dummy stands perfectly still in the middle of the private gym. Lu Xing closes the distance in a blur and strikes the dummy with a punch that produces a massive white and blue explosion. The force is so concentrated that the dummy's head begins to spark and hiss as smoke pours out of its mechanical joints. It is clear that the equipment is struggling to survive the sheer power of his physical output. He is no longer just a student hitting a bag. He is a walking disaster for these machines. The combat power index screen flashes a final number of 3,137. Lu Xing stares at the glowing panel with wide eyes because that number is absolutely astronomical for someone his age. He starts questioning how the math even works and wonders if his fist technique is inflating the total score. He has to stay calm and analyze whether this is his permanent base power or just a temporary peak from a single strike. His mind is racing as he tries to calculate his true physical ceiling. Lu Xing lunges forward with a look of pure determination while blue energy swirls violently around his torso. He taps into the stellar body refining technique to see just how much more his body can handle before it gives out. The word stellar appears across the air as he pushes his internal energy to the absolute limit of what is humanly possible. Everything around him starts to blur into a haze of motion and raw power. The training reaches such a high level of intensity that the world around him finally fades into total darkness. Lu Xing stands at the front desk. He finishes his business with the receptionist and gives her a confident nod. He is clearly satisfied with his progress, and his blue eyes are sharper than they have ever been. The purple-haired receptionist smiles back and wishes him luck on his exams as he starts walking away. Lu Xing offers a quick thanks, moving with a newfound swagger that draws eyes across the room. He is not the same kid who walked in here earlier this morning. A girl watches Lu Xing walk away. This pink-haired student mutters about him acting all cool, though she admits he is actually pretty handsome when he smiles. Just then, senior sister Ni arrives with her junior brother following close behind her. Ni has a calm but commanding presence that immediately shifts the energy in the entire lobby. She checks in with the receptionist, who explains that Lu Xing is just a normal student despite his intense aura. They are all starting to realize there is something very unique about this guy. The red-haired boy crosses his arms. He scoffs at the idea of Lu Xing being anyone special, claiming that martial arts is strictly reserved for the wealthy. To him, someone from an ordinary household is just wasting their time even trying to get assessed. He starts bragging about his own training, claiming the gap between him and his peers is growing every single day. He is completely lost in his own ego, oblivious to the power Lu Xing actually holds. This kid is way too comfortable looking down on people. Senior sister Ni strikes the junior. She does not let his arrogance slide and delivers a sharp physical correction that sends him straight to the ground. She warns him that having access to resources is a reason to work 10 times harder, not an excuse to be lazy. The boy is left in tears, sobbing about how he was wrong while he cowers at her feet. It is a satisfying end to his trash-talking session. Just then, Lu Xing steps up to senior sister Ni with a calm smile. He is ready to discuss a proposition that will change everything. Junior brother grabs Ni's blue sleeve. He begs senior sister Ni to pull up Lu Xing's assessment data for comparison. The arrogant martial artist expects to easily outshine some ordinary student. A hand passes over a glowing tablet. Ni scans the results and immediately freezes. Lu Xing's monster stats leave her eyes wide in shock. The tablet screen glows with stats. Lu Xing's massive power leaves Ni frozen. Junior brother screams it's a scam. Ni senses his true potential. Lu Xing walks away into the night. At school, he blends into the crowd. His calm eyes hide a monster. The background character is gone. He's finally ready to dominate. Lu Xing walks away into the night. He's done showing off. Ni watches in shock. She knows he's a monster. At school, Lu Xing hides in plain sight. No one senses his power. The useless brother is dead. Now, the Real King is ready to dominate everything. Ni stares at the empty doorway. Lu Xing leaves her completely stunned by his scale. Junior brother scoffs at the commoner. His arrogance hides the terrifying truth. Lu Xing stands in his orange tracksuit. He hides his power among the crowd. He looks forward with piercing blue eyes. The monster is finally ready to reign. The screen fades into complete darkness. Lu Xing leaves the dojo to return to school. The era of the useless brother is finally over. He stands among his peers with a heavy aura. Everyone feels the pressure of his secret strength. Lu Xing is now ready to dominate his own reality. Deep shadows consume the screen. Lu Xing fades into the darkness. His legend finally starts now. The screen remains completely black. The powerhouse is now ready. He's leaving his old life behind. His true power is here. Total darkness fills the screen. Lu Xing steps into the light. He returns to his school. The student crowd parts ways. Everyone senses his crushing aura. He is no longer weak. His legend begins right now. Pure darkness consumes the entire screen. Everything fades into a heavy void. The silence builds in tense anticipation. Lu Xing's presence remains felt. The world waits for his next move. His journey is only just beginning. Dark shadows fill the black screen. Everything remains completely silent. Lu Xing stays perfectly still. His hidden power grows. He is finally ready. The wait is over. Deep shadows cover everything. Lu Xing heads back to school. He is finally ready. Nobody knows his true power yet. He dominates. Dark shadows slowly begin to fade. Lu Xing stands among his classmates. He is no longer an outsider. The students surround him. His presence makes an impact. Ni watches Lu Xing leave. She knows he's a monster, even as the junior brother scoffs in total ignorance. Lu Xing returns to school with a completely different vibe. His classmates stare in shock because his aura is just too heavy. He stands tall, no longer hiding. He's finally ready to dominate everything.